What's up, board game people? A few weeks ago, I was offered a demo copy of Soul: The Last Days of a Star to check out, and I jumped at the chance. This is an amazing example of how the dream of a game can be perfected and brought to life in spectacular fashion. Let's take a closer look. Before I begin, I don't take any money from game companies for previews, reviews, or any of my videos. I was shipped a demo copy of Soul to create this preview with, but the thoughts and opinions presented in this video are my own. That kind of freedom is made possible by the wonderful Patreon members and viewers of the channel. I'm thankful to all of you for that opportunity. Soul: The Last Days of a Star began as a passion project long before it hit Kickstarter in 2016. It has been created and perfected by a community of gamers who believe that the simplicity of its design, the mix of art and science, the emergent gameplay, and the ensuing chaotic race against extinction could frame a game that could capture the imagination and deliver a transcendent experience. They were right. They took the remaining copies of the game to South by Southwest and won the Gamer's Voice Award in 2018 and sold out completely. For some, it's been a long, hard wait of 3 or more years to get their hands on a copy, and now everyone is getting that chance. Not only are they offering a reprint this time, but they've partnered with Matt Healy to create a stunning wooden insert for the game. In Soul, you take on the responsibility for one of the worlds surrounding a dying star just days from going supernova and annihilating all life surrounding it. You must orbit your planet's mothership around the sun, launching brave sundivers who will build, repair, or activate enough of the lost solar infrastructure to allow your ship to gather the necessary energy to attain escape velocity, break away from the gravity of your star, and launch your ark containing the lucky remnants of your planet's population to the relative safety of deep space. Each turn, you take one of 3 actions. You may choose to move, which allows you to launch and or move your sundivers around the sun. You can convert, which allows you to convert sundivers arrayed in specific patterns into gates or stations to assist in energy collection efforts. Or you may choose to activate existing stations, your own or other players, to gain new sundivers, harvest energy, or transmit that energy back to your ark. Converting or activating stations applies additional strain to your already fragile star, potentially accelerating its decline or dealing it the death blow. You can play solo, semi-cooperatively, or co-op, but you'll always be facing off against the instability spiral. You'll watch it tick down towards Doomsday with little control over its movement. And you must have conquered the momentum track to win the game, escape the dying star, and ensure the survival for your people for a time. Conversion comes in a few flavors. You can convert 2 parallel sundivers to a gate that allows you to travel between the layers of the sun. Gates are safe, not considered stations, and do not prompt a draw from the instability deck. Then we have conversion to stations. Converting to a station such as an energy node, a sundiver foundry, and a transmit tower does usually prompt a draw from the instability deck. This deck can allow you to activate some of the instability powers that have been laid out for your game. These powers allow you to bend, or in some cases, straight out break the rules of the game. They add a wonderful and welcome twist to each new game. A draw from the instability deck can also result in a solar flare. Each solar flare advances the token on the instability spiral, and once that token reaches the end, that's the end of the game and your solar system. Activating stations can also prompt draws from the instability deck. The closer the station is to the core of the star, the more powerful the results of the activation and bonuses are, but the more cards you must draw from the deck as well. Energy nodes allow you to harvest and store energy from the star on your mothership. Sundiver foundries allow you to utilize that energy to create new sundivers in the hold of your mothership. And transmit towers allow you to transmit stored energy back to your ark, increasing its momentum and its chance of escaping the star. When you gain momentum, your ark token advances on the momentum track, and depending on your game mode, helps determine the winner or who escapes and who does not. There are several scenarios you can play with in the solo mode. These scenarios present different ways to play and different challenges to overcome. There's some creative puzzles here that will stretch your imagination and are a blast to play again and again, attempting to optimize your winning strategy. Cooperative mode is presented to allow you to play with instead of competing against other players. You can play a straight co-op mode, or incorporate a scenario as you wish. In the co-op mode, the player with the lowest momentum sets the score for the group. If they fail to gain enough momentum to meet the challenge, you all fail. In competitive mode, the game is easily tuned to be more or less competitive depending on your tastes. The red cards from the instability deck add a level of gotcha to the game, allowing you to hinder or even hurt the other player's chances of survival. Or, you can play a fair game and the player with the most momentum escapes and wins. There are hundreds of ways to customize your play to increase or decrease the challenge, playtime, and complexity, and that's where Soul really succeeds. The game becomes a fantastic race against the clock, or the spiral in this case. We found that you were really drawn to watching the Doomsday timer tick down, and for me I really felt a bit of panic as the end drew near. You have the tools to mitigate the outcome, but you cannot change the circumstances here. Even with the most basic of setups, we found ourselves optimizing our strategy and experimenting with station placements at different layers of the sun. Different ways to build networks of gates that would benefit both of us while allowing energy to be dispersed to the owners of those gates to create an almost constant trickle of energy that in some cases proved to be vital. Setup of the game is quick once you've done it once, and the rulebook has a great setup section that will guide you through your first setup quickly and mostly painlessly. The rulebook is well laid out and easy to reference once you've thumbed through it a bit. My biggest suggestion is that you make a point to read the examples presented in the book. While it can seem a bit redundant, and for many games the examples are entirely redundant, here it is necessary. The explanations cover some aspects of the rules that are not covered elsewhere. If you skip the examples, you'll likely be playing wrong, and you'll have some real questions after a playthrough or two. The rulebook also contains the rules for each mode of play, the scenarios, and variant play. Finally, it has an excellent FAQ at the end of the book that should clear up any lingering questions quickly. There's no index, but the rulebook is short and well laid out, so I don't think you suffer from not having one. Component quality for the game is top-notch. The plastic components were generally free of mold lines, and the colors are great and provide a stark contrast to the game boards. They have a bit of weight to them too, so they don't get knocked around too easy. The game board is a work of art. It looks fantastic sitting on the table, and it has just the right amount of reference information non-obtrusively displayed in the corners of the board. The board itself is well made and didn't suffer from any peeling or discoloration. Then to top it off, the board is double-sided. The second side is for 5-player games, and it gives you a bit of extra room to spread out and really play. It's a nice touch that may go unnoticed until needed, but it looks like it'll make all the difference with the highest player count. The energy cubes are your normal fare of small plastic cubes, but aesthetically I think they work great. This is a rare case where I wouldn't bother trying to deluxify them. The art for the game is perfect. The game board and the plastic pieces work well to create a contrast that makes the pieces really pop. Even the momentum board with the instability spiral is incredibly well done. It fits the theming perfectly. Every bit of the components really do push that theme along, and the game is a piece of art on the table. It draws eyes and questions quickly follow. Finally, you have the new wonderful wooden insert with this printing. From what I've seen of the insert, I want one for sure. It looks well made, functional, and doesn't detract from the game in any way. For me, the playtime is just about right for the game. The game seems to come to an abrupt end each time, but I believe that's really the effect they were going for. We generally topped out at around an hour for 2 players, and that's with us stopping and theory crafting along the way. We would watch the flare token approaching the end of the track, and that's when things got serious and every convert and activation seemed critical. I would love to try a longer play variant just to see how it holds up past the hour mark. I'm hoping the building tension would persist. The instability cards were a bit hit and miss for us. They all have fun effects, but some are going to be more useful than others. We found the green and blue suggested starting color of cards to be a bit mild at times. When we mixed in a few of the other colors is when it really opened up some interesting possibilities. This game has so much natural customization that you should easily be able to find a mode and play setup that you enjoy. Customization isn't a chore either. I would hate if it was. Here, it's as simple as adding more suits and card colors, and adding trigger events, or setting up the parameters of a different scenario. We haven't had the chance to play all the scenarios, or to really experience the trigger events, but that's on our to-do list. We played our first game semi-cooperatively, but quickly changed to co-op after that. The competitive mode is fun, but both of us are extremely competitive, and it's best if feelings don't get hurt. Every way that we played, we really enjoyed. I'd absolutely say that the game is worth the asking price. If you enjoy the game, then you'll more than get your money's worth of play out of it. The game even looks amazing sitting on my shelf. The only problem is that it sits there calling out to me, asking to be played, and I'm having a hard time saying no. So that's it. Fun fact, this was my first game preview that I've released on the channel. Hopefully it was informative and helpful for you in making a backing decision. I would love to hear any comments or suggestions you might have. We'll be back next with our weekly news video, and then comes a few top 5 or top 10 videos. There's some fun new videos in the works as well. Please consider subscribing and helping our little channel grow. We'd love to have you as a part of our gaming community. Check out our Discord linked in the comments. Thanks to everyone watching and commenting. Have a great New Year's and play something out of this world tonight.